What if your blood type is more than just a medical label? What if it's a symbolic map, coded deep within your biology, whispering truths about your inner self, your relationships, and your destiny? Carl Jung believed that the most powerful truths are often hidden in plain sight, symbols encoded into ordinary life that point us back to the unconscious. And there's one symbol we all carry, one we rarely think twice about: our blood type. Now take a second. What's your blood type? Type A, B, AB, O. Comment below before we begin. Let's see how many of each type are watching right now. Even though Jung never directly spoke about blood types, his work opens the door to something fascinating. His theory of archetypes, those universal psychological patterns that live inside all of us, might give us a framework to understand how something as seemingly mundane as blood could be a gateway into the psyche. In Japan and other parts of the world, blood types are widely believed to reflect personality. Type A, methodical and responsible. Type B, creative and spontaneous. Type O, decisive and bold. Type AB, complex and intuitive. These aren't just cultural cliches. They echo something deeper, something archetypal. And if Jung were alive today, he'd probably be asking the same question we are. What story does your blood tell? So in this video, we're not just talking science, we're decoding soul patterns. Using Jung's psychological lens, we're going to explore how each blood type aligns with a different archetype, and what that says about your core traits, emotional patterns, and life path. Let's begin with Type A. Now, if you're Type A, pay close attention. And if you know someone who is, tag them in the comments or send this to them. This might explain a lot. Type A, the architect of order. Type A, personalities tend to carry a quiet intensity, like a calm lake with hidden depths. You might love order, feel anxious around chaos, and find peace in routines or tidy spaces. That's not just a quirk. It's a clue, a psychological fingerprint. Jung would say you're embodying the archetype of the sage, or the perfectionist. This archetype craves control not out of fear, but out of devotion. Devotion to harmony, to excellence, to the inner order of the world. You might feel at ease when things are planned, when details are respected, when timelines are honored, and that's beautiful. But Jung also warned us, every archetype casts a shadow, and, for the sage, it's the fear of losing control. Let me ask you this, have you ever frozen up because something wasn't just right? Or felt invisible pressure to do things perfectly, even when no one asked you to? That's the shadow side of your strength. Jung called it the danger of inflation. When your gifts grow so strong, they begin to trap you. Your path to wholeness, what Jung called individuation, is about mastering that balance. Can you bring structure without becoming rigid? Can you pursue excellence without needing perfection? People with Type A blood tend to be deeply loyal. You don't give trust easily, but once you do, it's steady, consistent, devoted. In love, you likely seek commitment and clarity. You're not here to play games. You're here to build something lasting. Jung would call that the builder archetype working alongside the sage. In work, Type A's thrive in detail-rich environments. Law, research, editing, architecture. You bring order to complexity. And that's a gift the world desperately needs. But here's your challenge. Don't let your strengths become your identity. You are more than your structure. Your growth comes from letting go, sometimes choosing progress over perfection. Let us know in the comments, do you relate to this? And if you're a different blood type, stay tuned. Your turn is coming. Type B, the explorer. Inside. Have you ever felt like rules were more like suggestions, or that life gets boring if you're not trying something new? If that sounds like you, there's a good chance you have Type B blood. And guess what? That might mean you're not just different, you're wired to be. Carl Jung talked a lot about archetypes, universal patterns in human behavior. Think of them like inner characters that live in all of us, the hero, the sage, the rebel. And if you're type B, the archetype that fits you best might be the explorer. Let me ask you this. Do you light up when you're planning your next trip? Do you love learning about random topics just for fun? Ever start a project and then, oops, jump to another one because something new caught your eye? It's not just a personality quirk, that's classic explorer energy. Type B folks tend to be independent, creative, and, well, not great with boring routines. You're probably the kind of person who prefers to wing it, rather than plan every detail. That doesn't mean you're flaky. It means you thrive in flexibility. While others are panicking about what's next, you're calmly adjusting your sails. This lines up surprisingly well with a popular belief from Japan called Ketsueki Gata, the idea that your blood type says something about your personality. And guess what? They say type B people are passionate, curious, and sometimes a little unpredictable. Sounds familiar? Let's tie that back to Jung. He would say you have a strong connection to what's called the intuitive and feeling functions. Basically, you feel your way through life and trust your gut more than a checklist. You might not always explain why you made a choice, but somehow it works out, and when it doesn't, at least you learned something cool along the way. Let's get real. You're probably the kind of person others describe as spontaneous or full of ideas. Maybe you've had a few people say, "You never finish what you start." But hey, that's because you're always seeing new opportunities. Jung would say that's part of your gift and your challenge. Now, I want you to think about relationships. Do you sometimes struggle with people who need everything to be superstructured and predictable? Do you crave personal space but also love really deep connections on your own terms? That's the explorer in you. You want to experience life, not follow someone else's map. At work, you're probably the one who brings fresh ideas to the table, even if they sound crazy at first. Jung would have loved that about you. He believed creativity comes from the ability to hold two opposing ideas at once, and that's your jam. You can be fun and serious, chaotic and insightful, all at once. But here's the twist. Jung also warned that every archetype has a shadow. For the explorer, that shadow can be restlessness, that grass is greener feeling, jumping from thing to thing, and maybe never feeling fully grounded. You might struggle with deadlines or routines, not because you're lazy, but because your mind is always chasing the next adventure. Sound familiar? If it does, don't worry. Jung wouldn't want you to become someone you're not. Instead, he'd suggest learning how to slow down once in a while, to develop just enough structure so that your wild ideas can actually take shape. Think of it as building a runway for your creativity to take off. Here's a little tip. Try balancing your adventurous spirit with just a pinch of routine, like a morning ritual that grounds you, or setting micro goals that turn your wild ideas into finished projects. Jung believed that true self-growth comes not from rejecting who you are, but from expanding it. And let's be honest, our world needs more people like you. You're the ones who bring color, surprise, and innovation into everyday life. While others are busy walking the straight path, you're out there discovering new roads. You make life feel like an adventure, and isn't that kind of amazing? So next time someone asks about your blood type, smile and say, "I'm type B, the explorer." Because now you know that little detail on your medical chart might just be a clue to your entire inner world. Type AB, the harmonizer who lives between worlds. Type ABs, let's talk about you, the rarest blood type on Earth. You're like a walking paradox, and I mean that in the most fascinating way possible. You've probably heard it before. You're so hard to figure out. You're one way with one friend, and totally different with another. But here's the truth. You're not fake. You're just complex. In fact, Carl Jung would have been obsessed with you. Jung believed that psychological health comes from holding opposites together, masculine and feminine, logic and feeling, structure and chaos. And guess what? You're doing that naturally. Your blood literally carries the antigens of both type A and type B, meaning you embody both order and spontaneity, both introversion and extroversion. Let me ask you, do you ever feel like you don't fully belong in any one group, but can understand everyone just a little bit too well? That's not a flaw. That's a gift. You're a bridge, a translator, a connector. According to the Japanese blood type personality theory, AB types are known for being cool-headed, rational, and unique. But Jung would go a step further. He'd say you're living proof of the coniunctio oppositorum, his fancy Latin phrase for the union of opposites. That's deep archetypal energy. You're the person who can sit in a room of arguing people and somehow see all sides. You might not pick a side right away, because you see how all of them make sense. Sound familiar? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt torn between two very different parts of yourself? Maybe part of you loves planning things out, but another part craves freedom. That's your inner A and B voices talking. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Jung believed that people like you are essential to healing society. Why? Because you're naturally wired to find common ground. You bring people together. You soften conflict. You make room for nuance in a world that's obsessed with black and white thinking. But, and this is important, Jung would also warn you. Your gift of adaptability has a shadow. You can get lost in other people's energies. You might avoid making strong decisions because you're busy weighing every angle. Sound familiar? If you've ever found yourself changing your behavior depending on who you're with, and then feeling kind of lost afterwards, drop a emoji in the comments. You're not alone. Jung said that individuation, the process of becoming your truest self, is about balancing all the different voices within you. For AB types, that means learning to stay grounded in your core, even when your environment shifts. Professionally, you might be drawn to roles like therapist, diplomat, teacher, or artist. Why? Because you can hold contradiction without shutting down. That's a superpower. Emotionally, your depth makes you a powerful partner. You can empathize on multiple levels. But it also means you need strong emotional boundaries. Otherwise, you end up carrying too much of everyone else's stuff. So here's your Jungian homework. Start noticing which part of you is showing up in different situations. Is it the logical planner, the spontaneous adventurer, the peacekeeper, the deep feeler? Don't judge it, just notice. Write in the comments, I'm AB and I, then finish the sentence with the most contradictory thing about yourself. Let's celebrate that complexity. That's your gift. Because remember, AB, you weren't made to be simple. You were made to be whole. Type O, the natural leader, the warrior. Within, have you ever met someone who walks into a room and instantly grabs everyone's attention, not by being loud, but just by being there? That's often the quiet power of an O-type personality. If you're blood type O, you're not just part of the world's most common blood group. You might actually carry what Carl Jung would call the warrior archetype. And no, that doesn't mean you're here to fight everyone. It means you've got a deep, primal energy that's ready to rise when life gets intense. It's the kind of strength others can feel, even when you're silent. Let's make this personal. Have you ever found yourself stepping up when things fall apart? Like no one asked, but somehow everyone's looking at you to take charge. You didn't plan it, but there you are, handling it. That's not an accident. That's your inner archetype showing up in real time. O-types tend to embody something Jung deeply admired: decisiveness. You don't get lost in endless options. You trust your gut. You move. And that makes people feel safe around you, even if they can't explain why. And here's something fascinating. O is considered the oldest blood type in human evolution. That means, biologically speaking, you're wired to survive, to lead, to act under pressure. There's something in your blood that remembers what it means to be a protector, a builder, a leader. But let's not forget the flip side. Every strength comes with a shadow, right? Have you been told you're too controlling, too intense? Do you get frustrated when people hesitate, overthink, or can't keep up with your pace? Jung would say that's the shadow of your warrior. It's not bad, but it's something to bring into awareness. You see, the warrior isn't just about courage and strength, it's also about restraint. Knowing when not to act, when to let others lead, when to rest. Because let's be honest, do you ever feel like you carry too much? Like everyone depends on you but no one asks how you're doing? Yeah. Now that we've walked through all 4 blood types and their symbolic connection to Carl Jung's archetypes, here's something to consider. This isn't about putting you into a box, it's about naming the energy you've already felt inside. Whether you're type A and always organizing the chaos, type B with a mind full of dreams and nowhere to put them, type AB, trying to reconcile all the pieces of yourself into something whole, or type O, the quiet leader who shows up when it matters most. Each of these patterns holds a mirror to your inner world. And the most powerful part? You're not stuck in one role. You're not defined by your blood. But you can recognize yourself more clearly through it. Carl Jung believed in something called individuation, the process of becoming the truest, most whole version of yourself. That journey begins not when you try to change yourself into something else, but when you finally say, "Oh, this is who I am." So, let me ask you, did you recognize your type today? Did something click? Something you couldn't explain before, now suddenly making sense? If you're up for it, I want to hear from you. In the comments, just type, "I'm your blood type, and I used to think Rezak about myself. Now I see it differently." Let's turn this space into a mirror for all of us. Messy, human, and real. And if this resonated with you, if it helped you understand yourself even 1% more clearly, do me a favor. Like this video. Share it with someone who needs it. And hit subscribe. Because this channel isn't about surface-level self-help. It's about deep, lasting, soul-level growth. Next up, we'll be diving into a topic Jung kept close to his heart. How your dreams aren't random. They're messages from your unconscious, and they might just be your roadmap to healing. Until then, keep asking questions, keep embracing your contradictions, and remember, you're not broken, you're becoming.